Has anybody in the fish keeping world came up to you and said, you know, if a fish's eyes is too big in proportion to its body, that means it's stunted. That means whoever raised it sucks butt. That means it needs to be put down immediately because it's crap. Yeah, eventually somebody's gonna say that. So yeah, it's a thing, especially with like breeders and old timers that's been keeping fish for a long time, where they'll say that there's a proportion that the eye should be in relation to the body. Like you know that old phrase that a guy, if you take a guy's finger and you put it right here, and that's how you know it's. But if you ask anybody what the mathematical equation is, nobody can ever tell you. It's just a thing. They go, well, it's too big. It's just, you know, if it's too big. Well, how big is too big? When it comes to fish, stunted means that one, either the fish has stopped growing or it's growing slower than it normally should. That's stunted. And what you'll get a lot of times from fish breeders, you'll see it a lot of times with angelfish, discus, goldfish. Those breeders or longtime fish keepers are normally the ones that'll say, hey, your fish's eyes are too big for its body, so your fish is stunted. And you'll say, well, how do you know that? What is the ratio? They can never give you that because there is no ratio. They're just going off what they feel that ratio should be from their experience. That's where I kind of have issue. When I first came up with the idea for this video, I actually was going into another journey. My journey was to come up with the ratio. I was going to figure out this ratio, and the way I was going to figure out this ratio was by going to the OGs. I was going to go to a wild angelfish and kind of go to a bunch of different wild angelfish and measure the eye in relation to the body size and kind of, you know, average it out and go, this is the ratio. We're going with wild angelfish. They're the originals. They're the untouched, unsullied, and this is going to be the ratio. Well, in my attempts to find wild angelfish, I had a discussion with Gabe Posada from Jack Watley Cichlids. This is my thoughts on it. This is not Gabe's thoughts on it. Gabe has his own thoughts on it. He can speak for himself. But in the discussion with Gabe, whether he agrees with me or not, this is what I came up with. I had these two thoughts in my head. I just didn't have the piece that connected it. And the discussion with Gabe kind of put that connection together for me. And as this video goes on, I'll go ahead and make that connection and how I came up with my own views on this particular subject. My theory when it comes to the phrase that the eye should be a certain proportion to the fish's body is skewed, extremely skewed by people who have been in the hobby for a long time, breeding and watching and judging domesticated angelfish. And this is why I'm saying that. And I'm not talking crap about people who have been in the hobby for a long time. I'm just saying we might want to take a step back and reevaluate what we consider a normal domesticated angelfish to be.
This is a nice fish, you know? Big fucking eyes, but a nice fucking fish.
And kind of throw away the rules and rewrite them. Because when we're talking about normal domesticated angelfish, I don't think we can actually have anything written in concrete, especially with the way we go about breeding these fish, selectively breeding this fish for their traits. We are changing everything up. When you look at all these angelfish as a whole, we are breeding so many different traits into them. To say the eyes are the only thing that's going to remain the same when we're changing the fins, we're changing the colors, we're changing the size, which we're changing all these characteristics. We're definitely changing the eyes, though. How could we not be changing the eyes? I mean, how is that not a thing? We're definitely changing the colors. I mean, the red pigment in eyes has been slowly going away, so we are having an effect on the eyes. So to say one angelfish's eyes is too big or too small in comparisons to his body, the only way you can truly judge that is to know the angelfish's history in person. To know if that angelfish has been stunted from birth up until present day. Anything other than that is an educated guess at best. And there is something to be said about experience, but to say 100% with 100% certainty is a little bit too much, in my opinion. At the end of the day, it's in the eye of the beholder. What one person believes is too big, another person might believe is just right. Let me give you a for instance. Let's say you're a fish keeper who's only dealt with wild discus. You only deal with discus that has come in from the wild. And another person has only dealt with domesticated discus, all the crazy colors, the Marlboros, the pigeon bloods, the many varieties of that. A person who's only dealt with wild discus, and this is kind of what me and Gabe Posada talked about, a person with wild discus might look at these discus, these domesticated discus, and look at those fish and be like, oh, those fish have small eyes. While the person that has only dealt with the domesticated discus might look at the angelfish from the wild and go, those fish have large eyes. Why would they believe this? Well, Gabe Posada peeked me to some game, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to you. Discus in the wild do not eat like discus in captivity. Discus in the wild have to hunt for their food. They don't eat as much. They don't eat as frequent. So their bodies do not grow as fast as our fish do, who get a buffet of food just crammed down their throats. So their body grows faster and bigger, while their internal organs, including their eyes, continue to grow at a normal rate. The discus in the wild, their organs and their eyes continue to grow at a normal rate, but because food is not as easily available, their bodies do not grow as fast as domesticated. So the discus in the wild would look like, to these guys, that they have bigger eyes. It's the simple things that kind of put things in perspective, right? What is a normal growth rate in a fish? Let me explain what I talk about. Let's say somebody gives us 10 fish from their spawn. I get 10 fish, you get 10 fish. So you're gonna put them in your community tank and you're gonna feed them once a day and do 25% water changes, where I am an angel freak, and I want to put them in this bare bottom tank, and I'm going to power feed them, and I'm going to do 80% water changes every other day, and only feed them protein. Well, my fish are going to go faster than yours, and I'm going to look at yours and go like, you've been stunning your fish, and you're a terrible person. Is that true? No. Your fish have been growing at a normal rate, and I have been putting my fish into a extreme growth regiment. Who's right and who's wrong? That's why I kind of, when I hear that phrase from somebody who doesn't know the history of the fish, and I know somebody's gonna come out with the hormone aspect of it, that is also thrown into the whole history aspect of it, okay? So I know that's a thing, but that goes into the whole history aspect of these fish. If somebody accuses you of stunning your fish, but you know for a fact that your fish is living its best life, it's healthy, it's swimming around just fine, and it's not growing as fast as their standards tell them this fish should grow, tell them to kick rocks. Now, are there instances where fish has been stunted when there's an obvious large eye? Yes, but it's going to be universally, like everybody in the room is going to obviously be able to tell that this fish has been stunted to a point where it's unhealthy. It's not going to be up for debate. But get this, there's also a lot of instances where people are purposely breeding stunted fish, but we call them balloons or short-bodied and charge extra money for it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you haven't already, subscribe, like the video. If you like it, you might as well hype it. It's a small gesture on your part, but it does wonders for my channel. Here's a couple of other videos that you might find interesting. I appreciate you, and I thank you in advance.